Hey guys, welcome to my job site. This is the most fun work I get to do, radiant slab heating. We use radiant systems to heat spaces of all types, and doing it with a big concrete slab, turning that slab into a giant radiator, there's nothing more comfortable. And there's a lot of cool stuff that goes into the construction of it. So I hope you'll enjoy this video. We're just going to talk about how we put the tubing in, how we got to the point where we put the tubing in, really, is ultimately what it comes to. What are the considerations we need to think about when we're talking about tubing spacing, the type of tubing we're using, and how it all goes in place. So let's just start right here. This is the distribution center for where we're going to be sending warm heated water into the concrete slab. Now, of course, we're standing where concrete will be. I mean, you understand that much, of course. But if you've never seen a radiant slab system, it's really quite fascinating. We've got a special type of PEX tubing that we've stapled down directly to the foam board insulation. I call it special PEX, right? It feels, it operates just like regular PEX tubing, but this tubing in its extrusion process at the factory goes through a second step or a final step to include what's called an oxygen barrier on the tubing. So standard PEX tubing we use for potable water distribution, and this PEX tubing, although they look and act identical and they can be used for both scenarios, this one goes one step further, adds that oxygen barrier. The reason that's important is because we've got a closed piping system here, or we will have when we connect it to our boiler, we fill it up, and we don't have any plumbing connected to it. This is not potable water. We need that water to remain stagnant and free of oxygen diffusion, because oxygen from the atmosphere can actually just diffuse through this plastic piping, and that oxygen then causes corrosion to the ferrous metals that are in our heating system. That's one thing to consider when you're looking at radiant floor heating. We've got two manifolds here. That's going to assist us in separating the garage from the living space. We've got multiple zones that way, but each individual loop is covering a certain amount of square footage. How do we know how much tubing to put in a certain amount of square footage, how to space the tubing out and things like that? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to answer that question. We have a specialized software, very much like a manual J calculation software, like a RightSoft or the like, but we actually have a radiant heating version of that software. So all the math, very similar to like a manual J calculation, or like consider like a ductwork design, right? We have a software that's dedicated and honed in on the pertinent math and design considerations for radiant heating. We use that, and we take all of our blueprint information, include it or input it into that, and it's going to help us spit out some design considerations. They've been doing systems like this for, honestly, since Roman times. To be completely honest, radiant heating was really started way back then when they're building things like the Colosseum. Now, obviously rudimentary, and we're not using PEX tubing back then, but this is a very modern system that's been around forever and is very common. I love it. My customers love it. I hope you've gained some information here, some real life information. And don't forget to hit me up over on Instagram, send me an email or send me a DM. You can always get in touch with me. I'm at Mechanical Hub on all of the socials. Ask me questions. Give me some feedback. What do you think about this system? I'd love to hear from you.